Hi guys, how are we doing? Aaron back again with another week of reacting to chart music. Now, apologies if you can hear kind of birds and whatever else in the background. I'm outside. It's far too hot to be sat inside doing this today. So here we are in the garden. Hopefully it's something a little bit different for you to look at other than the top of my bed. So there we have it. This week we've got 4 tracks to listen to. There should have been 5, but the number 1 in the charts at the moment is the new track by Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande, which I reviewed already when I did the Lady Gaga album review. So if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. It's a really good record. You should definitely check it out. That's definitely the best song on the record, so it's a shame that we can't do it on this video, but nonetheless, I've still got some different things for today. 4 tracks, not heard of any of the people. I've heard of KSI, who's the first one, but not heard of any of the others. So it could be, we honestly don't know what to expect with this one. So the first track is a track called Killer Killer. It's by KSI featuring Ayana Lee. Obviously we reviewed Houdini by KSI a few weeks ago. I know he's brought his album out this week. It's not one that I've listened to. I'm kind of expecting a similar kind of thing to what he put out with Houdini. Probably not going to like it if it's like that, but again, we'll go into it with an open mind and we'll give it a listen. It's kind of got that Dua Lipa vibe to it before KSI starts rapping. It's kind of an offbeat feel, it's different. At least it's not that syncopated shuffle beat again. It's got a very reggae feel to it actually. It's a cool beat. It's different to a lot of the other stuff I've heard of his. It's certainly different to the one that we reviewed a few weeks ago. He hasn't actually rapped on it at all yet, so yeah, the vocal's quite nice. The Ayana Lee, she's got quite a nice voice. It's edited quite nicely. Yeah, I definitely don't dislike this one as much as I disliked Houdini a few weeks ago. It's kind of got that flow to it. The rhythm, I think, is what makes it different the most. Like I say, it isn't that syncopated shuffle beat, which a lot of things these days tend to have. It's got, like I say, it's got a nice flow to it. Her vocal's really nice. It's produced quite nicely. There's not a lot going on with it. It's, you know, it's quite flatline. Yeah, the rap is, it's a rap. It's nothing special, but it's nothing too inoffensive either. Again, it's another one of them songs that's kind of going to do really well when the clubs reopen. It's one that I can hear playing in the clubs. You know, it's got that hook. You know, the killer bit in the chorus. It's easy to learn. It's catchy. The chorus will definitely do, you know, what it's supposed to do on the tin in the clubs. And the raps, you know, it's nothing special, but it's, you know, it's certainly not bad. Yeah, it's okay. It's very middle of the road. It doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really do much. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, lyrically, as far as lyrics go, you know, it's kind of what you'd expect. It's you know, it's all about money and what he's got and, you know, that kind of thing. It's not for me really, but you know, structurally wise, melody wise, it's okay. It's nothing special. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, the main opinion on that one, I mean, it's really short. It doesn't go on long enough to become repetitive, really. I mean, like, you know, if, you know, I was saying about he's just released his album, if this is the most exciting thing on the album, which I would gather it is because, you know, it's the one that's in the charts, then the album's probably not my thing. Again, you know, it's okay. It's inoffensive. It's just middle of the road rap music. It's standard pop. It's okay. Like I say, obviously every week we do the tier list. This one I'm going to put in indifferent. I certainly don't hate it, but then I certainly don't like it enough to want to listen to it again. Yeah, there's not a lot else to say about it really. It's, like I say, it's short enough to avoid being repetitive. It's structured, you know, as you would expect. Rhythmically, it's a little bit different, but everything else is just what you would expect for this kind of thing. So yeah, it's definitely not bad, but we'll move on to the next song. Up next this week, we have got a song called Think About Things by Daõi Freyr. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, apologies if not. What I gather, judging by, you know, the artwork that I've got here in front of me, and his name is a German artist. I'm assuming the song's obviously in English because it's got an English title. Absolutely no clue what to expect from this at all, so we'll take a listen. The intro is very different. It's very, very different, but it's kind of got like a James Bond type feel to it. It's very dark. He's singing it in a lower tone. It's okay, he's got a nice voice. Yeah, it's different. It's strange actually. Yeah, it's not what you would expect for a standard contemporary 2020 pop song. It's okay. It's different. It's not like anything that I've heard in the charts. All right, it's got, you know, it's a very straight beat. It's kind of like an 80s dance beat, but it's got more to it. It's more modern than that, if you get what I'm saying. It's okay, yeah, it's strange. I really like the melody and the harmony in the pre-chorus. The 2 voices blend together really well. I don't actually know whether this is just one artist or the 2. I honestly couldn't tell you. But yeah, it's really not bad. It's kind of got like an underground feel to it. You know, it's what you would expect to hear on a SoundCloud that somebody's put out, you know, independently through Logic. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all. It's got that underground feel to it. Like I say, it's got 80s vibes within the beat and the dance beat, but it's modern enough to still be contemporary. Yeah, it's strange, but it's decent. The melody's got a really nice rhythm to it all the way through. It's not standard in any stretch of the imagination. It kind of goes in different paths. It's similar to how I said about Lady Gaga in the album review I did this week, in that, she was taking us down all sorts of different roads that you weren't expecting with the melody. They're kind of doing the same thing here, but more rhythmically than they are melodically. The rhythm's all over the place, but it's a good all over the place. It's kind of contradicting what the bass line's doing. It's very cool. I don't know whether it's like the brass section, the wind section perhaps. It's kind of got like a little bit of an Uptown Funk feel to it. It's a very different song, but it's similar in terms of the instrumentation, when things come in and out, structure-wise. If it has the same success, then I'm sure it'll be well. I don't think it will do. I think it's much more of a niche kind of thing than that was. I think it's not the most accessible of listens that I've heard to on this, but it's got enough about it to make it interesting. I mean, I'm not quite sure whether I really like his voice or I'm not so keen. It's one of them. In places, it's really good and the melody really complements it. But in other places, I don't know whether perhaps it's the production on it isn't great. But it sounds a little bit tinny in places. And some other little bits of the melody, rhythmic, when he's rhythmically and it's quicker and, he's swapping between the notes, it really suits his voice. But when he's, sort of slower singing and whatever else, it kind of doesn't work. But that's kind of a nitpicky little thing. It's a very niche song. I'm quite surprised I think it was sort of number 30 in the charts, around that sort of place. Wouldn't think it'd go much higher than that. It's a very niche kind of thing, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, in different sections as well, it's kind of like the core verse is very 80s, it's very 80s dance. It's got that strong beat underneath it, an actual bass is playing the bass line instead of a synth. Then it goes into the pre-chorus where it's much more contemporary, you've got the synths kind of swelling up to build up to a chorus. And then when, the chorus and then the interlude after the chorus comes in, that's where it sounds a little bit like Uptown Funk. It's kind of blending three different things that you wouldn't think work together, but they do work in this sense. Like I say, there's only real nitpicky things that I don't like about it. Again, just reiterate, it's very, very niche. It's good though. I suppose it's kind of got that like DNCE Cape by the Ocean feel to it as well in the chorus. It's a mix of a few different things. It's quite a lot. It's quite a mixed bag. It's definitely not a bad song at all. I don't know where to put that one. Where would I? I'm gonna put that one in re-listenable purely for the reason that I think it's interesting enough and it's good enough to warrant another listen. It's a strange one. I definitely don't dislike it by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's one that will either grow on you or you'll become less partial to it over time, is probably the best way of putting it. So make sure you check that one out if that's your thing. That one's re-listenable, so hopefully you've enjoyed that. We'll move on to the next song for this week. Is a song by Surf, Mesa and Emily. It's called ILY I Love You Baby. So usually a lot of these chart songs you can't really tell anything about the music by the artwork, but with this one I'm not sure whether you can see if I just hold it there. Yeah, you can if it focuses. It's kind of got that tropical artwork to it. I'm kind of expecting like a tropical house thing. Could be completely wrong, you can't always go off the artwork. But like I say, I don't know who they are, so that's kind of the only thing I've got to go on. So we'll give it a listen. Okay, so it's a cover. I know that melody. I can't think what song it is now, or who it's by even. I really don't know, I'm not sure. But it's definitely a cover anyway, so we're interested to see where it goes. Yeah, it's got that it's definitely got that tropical house feel to it. It's quite a restrained beat. The synths are quite otherworldly. It's got that kind of glockenspiel-esque synth. Quite a high register, reverb, heavy synth in the background. I don't know whether it works, especially with the song that they're singing. It kind of juxtaposes a little bit too heavy. But yeah, we'll see. Again, like reiterating a point that I made during the last song, it's kind of what you would expect to hear from like a GarageBand SoundCloud session. It's kind of more like a remix than it is a cover, if that makes sense. It's like halfway through the song, the melody hasn't done anything different. It's sampled in places a little bit, which I suppose give it a little bit of variation, but whether that's good variation is up for debate. I don't think it works particularly well. I think this song, it's probably best to leave it as it is, maybe, or if you're going to cover it, then stick to kind of the formula but put your own spin on it. I think this one kind of changes it too much. I don't think it changes it for the better either. Again, similar to the KSI point that I made, it's made for clubs. I think it'll do well in clubs. It's one that will be played. It's got the edge on a few of them other ones in that everybody knows the melody already. So you've had a few drinks, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be able to sing along to that one. It's very simple though. I think that's probably where I have the most of a problem with it. You know, the melody does nothing different all the way through. It's just the same thing sampled over again. The instrumentation I don't find works well enough with the melody to be interesting, even though it changes, you know, part by part. Yeah, it's not for me, this one. And I do find that the instrumentation's a little bit murky as well in places. Like there's an acoustic guitar coming in the section that I'm on now, about halfway through the song, but it's very murky. It's you know, drowned in reverb. Obviously, you know, it's bass boosted all the way. I don't think it works. You know, I think, you know, if you were going to try and vary the song and make it a little bit different throughout, you know, kind of texturally, you need to do a little bit more with it. You know, because everything just kind of blends together. I mean, yeah, the only time that the song really changes is at the end when, you know, the proper beat kicks in, but even that, I think the beat's too loud, it kind of drowns the vocal out. Yeah, that one's not for me. That shouldn't come as much of a surprise, really. It will please people that like that kind of thing. If you don't like that kind of thing, then it's not going to be for you either. But like I say, it'll do well in the clubs. I suppose is what these songs are kind of about. You know, it's not for me, but it's not for me to sit here and go that it's rubbish, because it's clearly not my thing. So yeah, with that said, we will move on. So this week is a song by Niko B. It's called Who's That, What's That? Now, Niko B is the guy that released the Maryberry song last year, or earlier this year, one of the two. I didn't listen to it, I don't know, but I remember seeing, you know, it all over Facebook and whatever else. This is only the second song the guy's ever released, so fair play to the guy. He's in the top 40. Christ, I've released like 40 songs and I've never even had a radio play. So, you know, he's obviously doing something right. He's a rapper, from what I found out from Milton Keynes. So yeah, no idea if it will take a listen. I mean, I don't know whether it's meant to be funny or whether I'm missing the point entirely, or whether I'm hitting the point entirely that this is what this guy's about. You know, for me, it's a little bit coincidental that like I say, didn't hear the first song, but the first song is called Maryberry. It's obviously about Maryberry. I think, you know, 20 seconds into this one, he's rapping about a Big Mac and a milkshake. Again, it's got that real, it feels like we're really repping SoundCloud vibes this week. It's got that real homegrown, independent, underground taste to it, which obviously, you know, a guy with just 2 songs is going to have. Yeah, we'll see where it goes, I suppose. I mean, like, I kind of have a little bit of a problem with it creatively, in that, yeah, fair play to the guy, you know, instrumentation wise it's fine, it's a typical rap song, but for me, as a musician, maybe it's me getting on my high horse a little bit, but I've always been honest on these reviews, so I'm going to do it again. For me, who, you know, puts heart and soul into everything that I do and writes from the heart, I know people don't have to do that, and I know, you know, there's a reason that this is in the chart, and it's obviously got that market, it's obviously got that audience, and that's fine, it's completely fair enough. But, you know, for someone like me, and I think I speak for a lot of musicians that, you know, really put, you know, I'm not saying this guy's put no effort into this at all, because he clearly has, but, you know, for us to put like a personal amount of effort into it, and, you know, write about experiences and write about, you know, hypothetical situations and whatever else, and for this guy to be rapping about a Big Mac and, you know, not having gherkins in it, and it be sat in the top 40, and, you know, this is the type of thing that is going to go higher. You know, I had the same kind of problem with, you know, Lad Baby when they did the 2 Christmas songs that they've done, you know, but the difference with that was they were doing it as, you know, they were never professing to be musicians. They were doing it, you know, for charity, and it's at Christmas time, it is a laugh. Whereas this, I feel like, I don't know, it's just rubs me up the wrong way a little bit. There's something about it. And it's just quite uninventive as well. It's like, I don't like it. I've got quite a bit of a problem with it. I just don't see how, you know, like I say, I'm not knocking the guy at all. He's obviously found his audience. He knows what he's rapping about, and people like him for it. And I'm not going to stand here and go, that's wrong, because it's not wrong. You know, fair play to the guy. He's doing his best. If he's doing what he wants to do, people are enjoying it. That's great. But for me, as a personal opinion, I just think that, you know, if this is the state of the music industry, is a little bit of a harsh way of putting it, but if this is, you know, the type of thing that is going to get into the UK top 40, you know, there's no chance for people that, you know, sit and write their own tunes properly with an acoustic guitar. You know, not that I'm trying to sound favoritism or bias towards people like myself. You know, I'm obviously not doing something right, which is why I'm not in the same position as this guy. You know, I'm not for a second professing that I should be there instead of him, because I shouldn't be. But I just have a bit of a problem with it. You know, I just don't see the appeal, really. I don't get it at all. It's, you know, lyrically, I suppose it's more relatable to some of the other stuff, you know, like KSI's over there rapping about money. This guy's rapping about losing his wallet and eating a Big Mac and an omelette. you know, yeah, it's more relatable. I have lost my wallet, I have eaten a Big Mac, I don't have loads of money. But for me to be a serious musician, and, you know, the way I think about it is, if this guy was to make it huge and be number one, he'd have to be singing about, you know, losing his wallet and eating a Big Mac for the rest of time, because he's going to be that guy that people want to see and want to hear that song. For me, you know, I don't know how old this guy is. I'm assuming he's pretty young. You know, if in 20 years' time he was to be still, you know, performing live off the back of this, if that was me, I would feel like that was a little bit of a loss of integrity. You know, maybe that's just me, maybe I don't get it, maybe I'm completely out of line, but it's, nah. And like, you know, you get onto the bit now, we're onto the bit about, you know, the drugs and being a dealer and whatever else. I don't get it at all. You know, it's cringy, it's not particularly intelligent. I think in that sense it's sending out the complete wrong message, because it's obviously a guy that's sat in his bedroom doing this, which again, nothing wrong with. I do it in my kitchen. Don't get it, don't like it. Yeah, I mean, it won't come as a surprise that that's going to go straight in not for me. I'd actively dislike that. I think it's uninventive, I think it's particularly unintelligent, and I do think it's a little bit of, I don't know the right word of putting it, it just rubs someone like me up the wrong way. Maybe that's me getting on my horse about it. I'm sure if I've pissed somebody off by saying that, you'll tell me in the comments. But that's the thing, I've always been honest on these reviews, always been, you know, said my opinion, and that's my opinion of this one. Insulting's the wrong word, but I do find it a little bit, you know, it pisses me off a little bit that someone like that, like I said it previously, fair play at the guy, he's doing what he wants to do, he's making a living off it, you know, there's obviously a market for it, great, you carry on, mate. But for me, it would annoy me a little bit if, you know, I was a guy, which I am, putting all this effort in to get nothing out of it when this guy's rapping about a Big Mac and he's getting in the UK top 40. So that's just my opinion. If you really like it, then good for you. I won't be listening to it again unless I really fancy a laugh, so that's great. Like I say, I'll put the tier list that's completed up on the screen now, so you can check it out. We've got one in re-listenable, one in the one underneath that, which I can't remember off the top of my head, and then two in not for me. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag this week. The ones that I liked, I really liked. The ones that I really disliked, I obviously really disliked. But hey, that's the way, the nature of the beast. If you've enjoyed the video, then let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you leave your opinions on some of the songs downstairs in the comments as well. Be really interested, as always, to know. And make sure that you check back next week for another episode of Reacting to Chart Music. Thank you very much for watching.